Hi there. I'm Weiser Cornell, and this is Support for Stressful Times. Pretty sure times have gotten even more stressful recently. And I want to talk today about what happens when there's something you've hoped and planned for, something you have a dream of that will maybe even change the world for the better, and the hopes are disappointed, their hopes are dashed, and you have feelings about that. Of course, I am talking about a particular event that happened on November 5th here in the United States, but this applies to anything. You could be really hoping for something wonderful, and then your hopes are dashed. And what do we do? What do we do with that? Especially my specialty is what do we do with the feelings about that? Well, I'm going to say what we do with the feelings about that is turn toward them, acknowledge them, accompany them. And there might be some pretty strong, painful feelings. But feeling needs to be felt. And there's a difference between feeling your feeling and being knocked over by your feeling, overwhelmed by it. And that difference can be important when the feelings you're having are very strong. The body sense of the feelings you're having is very uncomfortable. Then you wonder, is it doing any good to just feel these things? Maybe it would be better to find a way not to feel them. So then you may have an inner struggle between a part of you that's feeling something that wants to accompany those feelings because you've heard from people like me that that's a good idea. And then on the other side, something that says, I don't want to feel this way. It's no good to spend time with these feelings, and connects the feelings to the outer world circumstances. Like it's no good to spend time with the feelings because the outer world circumstance that caused it isn't changing. So what good does it do me to feel how I feel? And you probably know what I'm going to say, right? But I'll say it. We get to have our feelings. It's one of the most important powers and rights that we have as human beings. We get to have the feelings we have. And by having the feelings that you have, you're also honoring your feelings. You're honoring what matters to you. Our feelings have to do with what matters to us. If something that really mattered to us can't happen, then of course there will be feelings about that. But what about feeling powerless? The big thing that mattered to you didn't happen, and you feel powerless in the face of it. There's something in you that doesn't want to have feelings because it doesn't want to feel powerless that way. And what I'm saying is you have a power, and that is the power to feel. And your feelings do matter, and they go somewhere. By being with your feelings, noticing what they are, spending time with them, next steps will emerge. I guarantee it. I don't know why you should believe me, but it's true. That's the road along which possibility lies. The road of noticing how you feel and acknowledging it. Next steps will arise. I remember many years ago, I was going through a very hard time in my life. It was about 25 years ago, in fact. I was around 49, 50 years old. My brother and sister were both dying of cancer. My only brother and sister were both dying of cancer. And it was hard enough that my sister was dying of cancer. Then my brother was diagnosed when my sister was in her last months. And suddenly it was just too much. I speak of myself. Well, part of my feelings about what was happening to them was that I didn't feel I could help much with what they were going through. And I felt so sad for them. It's a lot. And yet my job, my responsibility is to accompany my feelings. And because I did that, I was able to offer them what I have, which is focusing. And my sister had me to focus with her and in the last months of her life when she was still making decisions about chemotherapy. And it gave us a connection. It was something that I could do. It became possible because I was able to be with the feelings I was having, the really hard, painful, strong feelings. So let's be with some feelings today. Let me help you do that. And it might start with just feeling yourself present where you are. Probably you're sitting down, but you could be lying down or standing, no matter what. You can feel your body grounded. Pausing to feel that much is an empowering thing to do. Pausing, feeling, body grounded. And feel your breath. Notice your breath. There it is. Isn't that wonderful? Your breath keeps breathing you, whether you know it or not. And you can pause and feel that. And by pausing and feeling how you're sitting and letting awareness come to your body to feel your breath, you're beginning a process, a beautiful, powerful process of self-sensing. We call it focusing. You're giving attention to yourself so that you'll have the strength and resilience to give attention to wherever else you want to give it. Other people, your work, and so on. And when I say give attention to yourself, I like to say, let's start with love. Starting by sending love to yourself. If love seems like too strong a word, how about gentleness, compassion? If you're going through a hard time, you can also be gentle with yourself for going through a hard time. You can say to yourself inside, yeah, that's hard. That's not self-pity, it's acknowledgement. It's self-acknowledgement. And it adds to your strength and resilience. Give that a try. Say to yourself inside, if this is true, hey, I know this is hard for you. Whatever you're going through, if any part of it is hard, say to your body and yourself, I know this is hard. I know. Isn't that nice? Bring kindness into the world, starting with yourself. There's a revolution for you. The revolution of kindness. So we're pausing to feel your body and pausing to bring kindness to yourself. And the next step is maybe there are feelings. They might be bodily felt, like a clenching in your stomach or a sense of dread weighing you down in your shoulders, or yeah, feelings may be bodily felt or maybe not. But very likely, if you're feeling something, anxiety, dread, horror, shock, you're feeling it in your body. Or you can feel it in your body. And it's a good idea to let your body have the feelings. Why? Because all feelings can change, and they change in the here and now. Some feelings seem to be connected to the past and future. We have our dread may be related to things that happened in the past. Our anxiety may be related to things we anticipate, predict will happen in the future. But feelings only change now. If you're carrying some hard stuff from the past, it isn't the past that's going to change. It's now. And if you're anxious about the future, it isn't the future that's going to change. It's now. So coming into the body lets you feel just the way it feels right now. And take some time to sense and describe and be specific about how it feels. And sometimes it's hard to describe what you're feeling in the body. You know what? That's a good thing. It's a good sign. If you could glibly describe what you feel in your body, I bet that wouldn't be this present moment. When we feel something in the body right now, it's a little different from how it was an hour ago or yesterday or last week. It's possibly subtly different, or it's maybe quite different. But it's those unique how it feels now moments that are so important. So I hope you're pausing with me to sense how it feels in your body right now. And take time to describe it, because it isn't already described. Descriptions come freshly. Sometimes I invite people, I recommend that you feel that feeling freshly as if you had never felt it before. Like, yeah, it might feel like the pain in your stomach that you've had for the last 14 days. And how it is right now is more important than the fact that you feel like you've been feeling it for the last 14 days. How it is right now. Let's see how it is right now. We're coming into the body, and we're coming into the here and now. And that's where change is possible. And the first step of change is to say to your feelings, hello, I know you're there. Now let's talk about the part of you that doesn't want to feel that. This is sitting there saying, well, Anne, that's all very well, but no, I don't want to feel it. And what am I going to suggest we do with a part of you that doesn't want to feel? I'm going to suggest we be loving, kind, and gentle to that part of you. It's got some good reason why it doesn't want you to feel all that. So if you've got a part of you that says, no, I don't want to feel, I don't want to feel my body, I don't want to go. If you have a part of you like that, say hello. It's often sort of a little bit outside the body, maybe by your right ear. I don't know why. It wherever it is for you, that's fine. But they do this, oh, hello. I hear that you don't want me to feel. I hear you're tired of feeling that. I hear you don't believe it's going to change. Yeah, I hear you. I get that. who I am in relation to my body and myself and my feelings. I'm the listener. I'm the space that holds all that comes in kindness and compassion and gentleness. You become that space of kindness and gentleness toward everything inside you. You are that. Yeah, you are that. Lily shared in the chat about the United States election. It really activated the parts of me that carry feelings from a childhood, lived with a father who was similar to the person who got elected. It's an opportunity to be with what's here and offer each part presence and empathy as they let me know how they're feeling and how it is for each one. And she writes, something in me feels so powerless. And I acknowledge to her, yes, this is very hard. Beautiful. Such a beautiful description of the very process I'm talking about here. You are sensing what you feel, acknowledging what you feel, and some of it is hard. Feeling of powerlessness. That's a rough one. That's a rough one. Feeling of hopelessness. Does anybody have that too? That's a rough one. And here's what we're doing. We're saying to ourselves, that's rough. I get how hard that is to be feeling that. Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Catherine writes, I'm feeling overwhelmed by how sad I feel. My old habit is to avoid feeling this bad. Mm-hmm. My back is so tight and uncomfortable. A part of me feels afraid I won't be able to handle what's going on. Wow, Catherine, what a beautiful job you're doing of noticing and acknowledging those feelings. Something in you feeling overwhelmed. Something in you feeling so sad. Something in you feeling in your back tight, uncomfortable, afraid you won't be able to handle what's going on, and something in you wanting to avoid feeling that bad. And all of that is being acknowledged, and that makes a difference. It does. It does. Acknowledging our feelings allows the feelings to have life. They are part of your life. They're part of our lives, part of what it is to be alive. Allison writes, it feels indescribably yucky. Yeah, the word yucky might be the only word that fits. So describe it. Yeah. Lots of things are not possible. And some things are. We don't know yet what will be possible. But a part that feels powerless isn't telling the truth. The truth is that there's a feeling of powerless. There's a thought along with that, isn't there? The thought that I'm powerless brings a very yucky feeling. Certainly, I was powerless to have the election turn out the way I wanted to. By the way, I respect anyone who's listening to this who doesn't feel as I do about the US election. You're welcome here too. I'm not mad at you. But I don't want to assume everyone feels the same as me, but I'm using myself as an example. So part of me feels powerless to have had the election turn out differently. Wow. As soon as I acknowledge that, I could feel a deeper breath coming in me. It helps even with that. And Anne just wrote in the chat what I was saying to Catherine, brought her a deeper breath. one step at a time, one acknowledgement at a time, we find our way forward. And then there's the part that says, these feelings will always be the same. They're never changing. When I hear a part that predicts the future, these feelings will never change. These feelings will always be the same. I realize that that is an anxious part. Anxious parts tend to make these closed statements about the future. Actually, I call these predictions of doom. So it might be about the world. We aren't going to be able to turn climate change around. We will not be able to turn climate change around. Might be about that. Might be about your life, my life. I will never feel any healthier than I feel right now. I'm not going to succeed in whatever I'm wanting to succeed at. I'll fail. I will fail. I will fail. So that's the kind of thing I mean. Voices, parts of us that tell us they know for sure what the future will be. There's an important difference, however, between being worried that something will be true and things that are actually true right now. What I found is that if I listen too closely and I believe the parts of me that are telling me what the future will be, I lose my sense of energy and empowerment. My ability to engage with others and be curious about helping make a different future goes away. If I believe a part of me that wants to say, we're doomed, basically. We're doomed. That's a part, because nobody actually knows the future, and many surprising things have happened in this world. Positive predictions about the future also need to be questioned. We will always have the level of prosperity and safety that we have now. Don't know. So my favorite, really, my almost like a spiritual attitude toward the future is, let's see. I don't know for sure. Let's find out. And what would we like it to be? And what are we willing to work and join with others to help create? It's important to be realistic, but statements of certainty are not realistic. They're actually expressions of an anxious part. So part says, we're doomed. And I say to it, wow, you must be very worried in order to say something like that. I'm connecting empathically with the worry of this part of me, rather than, you're right, rather than believing it and sinking in response. I remember when it was something that was on my to-do list to do earthquake preparation. We live in an earthquake zone here in Northern California. There's things you can't do, but there's other things you can do. I wasn't doing any of that. I was simply saying there's going to be an earthquake. Oh my gosh, they predict it. It was only after I paused and said hello to the part of me that was saying over and over, there's going to be an earthquake. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh. Hello, I know you're there. Hello, I know you're worried. You're trying to help me with something, maybe. Yeah, I'm trying to help you prepare, but it wasn't. I was preparing less because of these continual feelings of powerlessness that the worried part kept creating by saying something bad was certain. As soon as that shifted, I found myself starting to do earthquake preparation. My house is now bolted to its foundation so it can't walk right off, and my kitchen cabinets and my bookshelves are fastened, and we have a plan for any room in the house that we're in for what to do if an earthquake comes. We can prepare better when we aren't sunk in our feelings. So my main message today, and oh my gosh, I see that our time is almost up. My main message today to you is be with your feelings, accompany them, be kind to them, be gentle to them. But if your feelings are saying there's no hope, you don't have to believe what they're saying. Instead, listen to the feeling inside statements of there's no hope and we're doomed. The feeling is anxiety. I hear you're anxious. I hear you're worried. And I'm with the feelings of worry that are underneath that kind of statement. Yeah. And Anne in Belgium has written, has quoted in the chat some of my words. And that's my recommendation. I'll say it again now. Let's see. I don't know for sure. Let's find out. What would it be like to be, and what are we willing to work at and join with others to help create? Yeah. And my other message was that when you feel your feelings, next steps become possible. And if you have something in you that doesn't want to feel what you're feeling, include it in what you're being kind to. Yeah, I really hear, you don't want me to feel what I'm feeling. I hear that. I hear that. Yeah. So Allison writes in the chat, so we're focusing on helping our feelings to help take steps. Yeah. And when you're gentle and kind and acknowledging of your feelings, next steps become possible because you don't have to know what the next steps are. You'll need your feelings in those next steps. They'll take you there if they're acknowledged instead of, instead of getting swamped by your feelings, oppressed, burdened, overwhelmed to the point where you want to push the feelings away, you are the one who makes room for them, turns toward them, makes a welcome for them. Nice to be with you today. Thanks for being with me.